Hey everybody, my name is Bennett Tchaikovsky, and welcome to Becoming a CPA in California when your degree is from outside of the United States. My disclaimer and copyright notice: the information and opinions in this presentation are those of the author only and not the author's employers or affiliated organizations, including but not limited to Irvine Valley College and the South Orange County Community College District. The presentation is for educational purposes only and does not constitute any legal or accounting advice whatsoever. My further disclaimer: any board of accountancy has the last word in terms of whether or not a course meets the requirements. This presentation is copyright by 2022 by Bennett Tchaikovsky. All rights are reserved. Any distribution is strictly prohibited. Okay, so just to kind of reemphasize this, we're talking today about if you have a degree from a foreign country, you want to become a CPA in California. So remember, the California Board of Accountancy, whatever I say here is really to give you a guide. I'm not going to be the final one who's determining whether or not you meet the particular requirements, but I can help you along the way. So the first thing that you're going to do is that you're going to want to have your foreign degree translated by an agency that is approved by the California Board of Accountancy. This is very, very important. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to link this below in the description, but right over here, you're going to want to have your degree translated by one of these agencies here. And these are the ones that are approved by the California Board of Accountancy. Right? We don't have the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, we have Mr. Newsom, right? So he's our current governor, right? So you want to make sure that this is current. And I believe that this is in fact current. It's actually revised on June 29, 2021. So it's got to be pretty current. So, and we're right now in March 31st of 2022. So these are the different agencies that will go through and translate the degrees for you. So this is the best place to go first. Now, when you get that translation back, what you're going to then go through and do, and by the way, when you're having that degree translated, have them send it to the California Board of Accountancy. So make sure that they send that over. If they translate it, they should be willing to do it later. But the second part is you're going to go through and do a mapping. Now, if you've watched my channel, I had actually some recent let me just pause real quick. So if you come over here, right, determining this is basically with George and Sagita. This is myself going through with them. I will go through and link this out below. Also too, over here, I did a presentation with over here with the California, with Cal State Fullerton Beta Alpha Psi. And here's another one. So you can see that these are actually some of my more popular videos. Is like becoming a California CPA. All these are over here, but I will link you to these videos below if you want to see how the mapping actually works. Now, if you would like me to look at this for you, wow, I will absolutely do it. What I will probably also though would like to do with you is to actually record it, and you would be my first student who has their degree from a foreign country who would be willing to go through and to do it. And again, the goal here is to create content so we can basically share it with others. Right now, note that the California Board of Accountancy has the final authority in terms of what courses count. But when we're going through and doing that mapping, it's what you're going to be wanting to do is you're going to be wanting to look very closely at that translation description. And let me show you why. So right over here, this is basically the tip sheet, and this is what I'll go through and use. So when we're looking at your courses that you've taken, we're going to want to understand is it an accounting, financial reporting, and auditing? Is it an accounting subject, business related subject, accounting study, and ethics study? Or is it ethics studies? Now, most of the time, what I'll want to be going through and doing with you is you'll list out everything that you have. Once I have that through, basically, once we've gone through and we've done that, then basically like the next step would be is to kind of figure out, okay, well, we've done the mapping. What other courses do you need to go through and take? Now, the one thing I will share with you is that if you got your degree from a foreign country, and again, this is really going to depend on how fresh or how long it's been since you've had your accounting, right? The other part of it too is that if you were in a country which was using IFRS as opposed to US GAAP, which are US generally accepted accounting principles, I think IFRS, I think that's an international financial reporting standard, something like that, but we're no longer converging. So, but here's what I usually will recommend for students to do is that I would have you actually go back and retake if you needed units, I would have you go through and retake lower division financial accounting, because even if you've taken a bunch of accounting classes, this is going to provide you with a really, really good refresher. The other one over here too is also going to be taking lower division managerial accounting. And the reason why is because when you look at cost accounting, some of it's covered on the CPA, but at least my managerial accounting course, like most of the ones we have here at Irvine Valley College, does a very, very good job in terms of going through and helping you basically get prepared for that cost accounting portion. The other ones that you will also want to consider take is intermediate accounting, auditing, income tax, and Microsoft Excel. Now, you might be saying to me, Bennett, why are you recommending all these Irvine Valley College courses? And this is why I'm going to go ahead and show you. When we go over here to the Becker CPA review, right? This is the goal for everybody. If you want to become a CPA, this is your major goal. If I go through and look through each of these different parts, first one, F1, and this is basic. If we look at how the CPA is broken down into, you've got FAR, which is financial, auditing, which is regulations, also referred to as AUD. Reg is referred to REG, business is referred to BEC. Now, the CPA exam is going to be changing in January of 2024. So if you're watching this video, you're going to be saying, wow, Tchaikovsky, this thing is old. And it is. It would be at that point in time. But when you look at this here, you'll kind of get a sense in terms of like, what do I need to go through and do to prepare myself to become a CPA? And this is why going back over here to these classes, this is why I'm recommending that you take these classes, because when it comes to be going over here, when you're getting ready for the CPA exam, it's going to be that much easier for you to go ahead and basically be successful on the test. Because remember, the CPA exam, like when you take, by the way, if you're doing CPA, if you're becoming a CPA, you absolutely want to take a review class, right? No matter if it's Becker, if it's Roger, if it's Wiley, if it's Gleim, if it's Surgeon, if it's Ninja CPA, whatever you're going to use, you want to make sure you take a CPA review class. So important. So right over here, you'll basically find that you've got basically financial reporting and disclosures, assets and related topics, investments, business combinations, liabilities, leases, derivatives, and foreign currency, equity, EPS, and cash flows, not-for-profit part 1. That's a good one. Governmental accounting part 2. Governmental accounting part 3. And like when you take these courses, what I did not list out was an advanced accounting course. Now, what you can do though is if your financial and accounting education is really strong, you may not need to go back through and take these classes. But I would strongly recommend, if it's been a while, I would really go through and get your education here first. That way, when you're going through and learning it, it's not going to be as intimidating. But again, you can learn it on your own. This is great. So over here, this is auditing, right? So auditing has all these different sections. Generally for auditing, if you go through and you take financial auditing, or basically auditing, financial statement auditing class, you'll be in pretty good shape for that. Regulation, right? This is individual tax part 1 and part 2, property taxation, corporate taxation, flow through entity taxation, other entity business law part 2, right? So these are for regulation. And then lastly, you get to business environmental concepts. These are going to be things like corporate governance and financial reporting, financial management, operations management, and cost accounting. So these are all of the different things. So as you're looking ahead and you're saying to yourself, wow, this is like great. It is crazy, right? Studying for the CPA exam is something that is a lot of fun. right? It's a lot. I'm just kidding. No, it's something that what makes accounting different than a lot of other professions is that you want to become a CPA. If that's your ultimate goal, actually, you probably wouldn't be watching this video unless you wanted to do that. So right over here. So that's the Becker CPA review. But again, why I would really recommend that you take these classes, hopefully at Irvine Valley, but at some other place, is that it's really about getting you fully prepared for that CPA exam. Now, here are some other thoughts for you. Okay, now, enrolled agent. Guess what? An enrolled agent has no educational requirement. You can sign off on tax returns. You can represent clients in front of the Internal Revenue Service. It is a 12-hour exam called the Special Enrolled Agents Exam. For that one, I'm going to strongly recommend that you use GLIME Enrolled Agent Review. So if you're going to become an enrolled agent, take a look at GLIME. Now, if I look over here, and this is what you want to do, like, don't ever take anything that I say for truth. Don't, actually, I should say, I'm not going to lie to you. Well, I'm half attorney, so I might lie sometimes. But over here, if I look at enrolled agent, right? Wow, look here, you're going to see 214 jobs, right? You're going to see a lot of different, basically, positions open, right? And if I put in CPA, I get, let's see, put CPA and let's find jobs and how many are, wow, 1,468 jobs. So when you go through and look, as long as that is on a certified, they call it something else, but wow, KPMG right over here, audit associate, Big Four, they're listing on Indeed. Wow. So you have like a lot of different, wow, this is nuts. Okay. So you have a lot of job openings that, for CPAs, right? And I have never seen an environment like the one that we're in right now. If you've passed the exam, and again, if you're, looking at how do I make myself the ideal candidate, it's having that exam passed and those educational requirements completed is going to be huge. Now, some of the other things, though, I do want to talk with you about. If you, for instance, if you said, Bennett, I really want to work at a Big Four accounting firm right off the bat. If that in fact was the case, what I may recommend that you do is to go get a master's in accounting. Now, this is one of the rare circumstances that I will go through and talk about getting a master's if you are in fact an international student. The reason is that if I do get a master's in accounting, you will find that at the UCI, at their MPAC program, they will have firms that will be coming in to hire. One of the biggest things, though, is that in terms of, I get a lot of questions. I'm an F1 student, right? I'm on an F1 student visa. How can I get an H-1B visa? It is extremely difficult unless you speak fluent Japanese. If you speak fluent Japanese, contact me. I can put you in touch with various different recruiters. But in most every single other case, it is extremely difficult to get an H-1B visa unless you speak Japanese or if you have a lot of experience. So if you're coming from a foreign country where you were an audit manager, or if you were a tax manager, guess what? You're going to get sponsored. And the reason is those positions right now are so hard to fill in public accounting firms that that's what's happening. So do you need to get a master's? Possibly. And again, it just depends on what you're going through and looking for. Last one over here is English a difficult language? And the answer, yeah, it's awful, right? English is a very, very tough language to learn. I went to law school. I wasn't really a good writer until I went to law school, but that now costs $300,000. So what I'm going to suggest that you do is that they have a lot of, especially at Irvine Valley College, we have a lot of ESL, English as a second language. We also have a lot of great writing courses. So if you're really uncomfortable about your English, or if you want to go through and practice it, and I fully, completely, and totally understand, take classes, right? Get better, right? Just go through and practice. And the one thing I'm going to mention again over here is the Microsoft Excel classes. And the reason why these are so important is that if you come over here and you look at, if I come over here, let's just go over here to financial. And let's take a look at some liabilities. Let's go to bonds and let's go to simulations. We'll go ahead and start this up. Now, if I look at this here, right, what I can do using Becker CPA review is I can click on Excel, and this is what's going to happen. It's going to actually pull up an Excel spreadsheet. This is why Excel is so important. And in fact, as you're going through and taking the future CPA exam, it's going to be more and more technology based. Most every single employer I have ever spoken with, they said to me, yeah, Tchaikovsky, your financial accounting class is great, but no, I want an employee coming in to be extremely proficient at Excel. So make sure that you have taken and that you have good Excel classes. Now, the other part of it too is like going back in terms of getting that job, that's probably going to warrant its own video. But from now and then, I want to thank you here for joining me here today. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. And if there's any other videos you would like to see, feel free to leave a comment. And again, my offer is open. If you would like to share the courses you took from whatever school you were in that country outside of the United States, and you want some help in terms of mapping, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you again so much. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great day.